Hey guys, Alex from 7th Hour Films back again with Mr. Robot. Last time on Mr. Robot, we had Debug, otherwise known as EPS 1.2 underscore D3BUG.MKV. Because this is what I'm doing. I am actually going to say every title, apparently. Yeah. Elliot was in a hospital after being pushed off a cliff by Mr. Robot. And eventually, Mr. Robot was trying to apologize, basically, and hope that he does actually rejoin. And actually let some information leak, basically, about Evil Corp's involvement in the toxic waste stuff that ended up basically ended up killing Elliot's dad, and actually we also learned Angela's mother. And we also, Angela learned that not only was Ollie cheating on her, but he was also being, held, I don't want to say, hostage or anything, but he's being, held up by this hacker that's going to release a bunch of information and take a bunch of information unless they put in a disk at Allsafe, I believe. And now Angela is thinking that she's going to do that. Yeah. And then at the end, Elliot did join up with the Robo Gang and join them. And also Terrell was doing some stuff. We're really not sure what he was doing. But he was doing things, definitely. It's at this point that I realized my camera is ungodly crooked. I tried to fix it before the recording, but it did not work. So, we're going to go ahead and start the episode, and I'm going to readjust the camera. Let's get started.
Dark Army. They got no code. They hack for anyone. Terrorists, North Korea, Iran, Russia.
Yo, my album just dropped. Please buy my CD.
He has my
Oh my god, really?
Just infect all safe.
Wow, I completely missed that.
If HVAC conditions surpass the ceiling 95 degrees, polyurethane adhesive mollifies and tape data is unreadable.
Okay, so he wants to just destroy the tapes.
All we need is one security flaw.
Look at this place, man. It was built not to have any.
There's gotta be something.
I see about 6 walking around.
Where you going?
We're done, aren't we?
Nah.
That was about the time the withdrawal started. Remember? It needs me just as much as I need it. The moment was destined, every choice bringing me closer to this one line. This line. This last line.
Oh, God.
I promise.
I hope you're right. Ugh.
Real bad. They're physically copying, then shipping all the analog backups. 5 big-ass fortress-like redundancies across the country. Now, maybe, and it was always a big maybe, we get into one, but no way we get into all of them. The minute we fry one facility, they'll patch every climate control system they own.
Yeah.
Tyrell, as in Tyrell Wellick?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Since when did you and the goddamn CTO of Evil Corp become what, chums?
I love this guy's voice.
Says this isn't just means we go up today.
We do this today? Oh, gosh.
We'd have to execute the hack before Tuesday.
Don't worry about China. I'll hit up my Dark Army contact as soon as you take off.
Oh, you're just gonna hit up the world's most dangerous hacker crew.
Nah.
I'll go in.
Look, man, you might be able to hide it from these nerds, but I know a junkie when I see one.
Nah.
And you're...
There's a saying. The devil's at his strongest while we're looking the other way. Like a program running in the background silently while we're busy doing other shit.
Nah.
His intentions are irrelevant. They don't drive us. Demons do. And me, I've got more than most.
Yeah. Ugh.
I just need to rest.
Burns.
Don't be mad at me. I know I slipped, but I'm about to change the world.
Nah.
I'm about to change the world.
If you're right, man.
A rabbit replicates till it overloads a file, then it spreads like cancer. Cancer?
Hollywood hacker bullshit. I've been in this game 27 years. Not once have I ever come across an animated singing virus.
I need to fly through a Tron City directory structure.
I bet you right now some writer's working hard on a TV show that'll mess up this generation's idea of hacker culture.
That's a slight little jab at the fourth wall, I think.
I'm sorry. I don't mean to be rude. I don't do drugs. I mean, I smoke weed. Well, sorry, but there's no take-backs. Besides, don't you want to figure your shit out?
Alright, she's going for it.
We got no time to haul dead weight.
Fine. You want to leave? Leave.
Screw this, man.
Oh, he's out. Oh, they're both out.
We don't have time. This needs to happen now. One hit.
Could he get it?
You take care of business and you get out. Hey, nod if you understand.
Alright. I hope this helps. I don't even know, man.
This is all we got right here. But it's better. Trust me. Cool.
Ooh.
There you go. There
Just a straight shot of morphine?
That's right.
What? No, wait. This is more than he needed. Whoa! Wow! Did he get shot?
Dear brothers and sisters, now is the time to open your eyes.
Huh?
If you
Close it open.
Belongs to you now. Made in the Orient.
Oh,
Made just for your head.
he's losing it. Oh. Where he lived.
Don't be shy now. You can come closer.
Yeah. He's lost it.
Unsettling, I know. Your pet beta fish chatting you up.
Nah.
But time's money, Elliot.
Angela, he's my friend.
Yes. And it's delicious.
I like that there's nothing like this isn't shot differently. They don't have a crazy effect over it. It's like, nope, it's just go. He's high. The morphine's going nuts.
Yes. Yes, Elliot, I do.
Wait, that's not a ring. That,
I do.
is it?
I do.
But that's not. Oh, man. You know, it makes sense that when you're high, nothing makes sense.
Afraid of your monster. Do you even know what it is?
I don't.
It doesn't fit.
It's not a ring, is it?
They all left. They all left.
Wait, so are you back?
No, you're not.
Hey.
I'm not going anywhere, kiddo. We're in this to the end.
Well, that's good. So, what was the last real thing that happened? Well, if they're just gonna. All right. Well, good for them.
See that badass bitch? That's the only person you should ever worry about.
Liquid anti-diarrheal for the, well, you know. Lemon and salt for the electrolytes. Decongested for the runny nose.
It's the third one.
7 more, you'll be good as new. Cool.
Hello again.
Hey.
Long time no. Whatever it is we do.
I'm really not sure at this point.
Where did you go?
Bro, I've been with you.
Did you leave or did I?
You were fucked up. Yeah, she went to work. Oh yeah, she's probably going for the disc, isn't she? Uh-oh.
Demons. They don't stop working. They're always active.
Well.
The only silver lining to all this is that when we break through, we find a few familiar faces waiting on the other side.
Is that Steel Mountain? Oh, dang it. That's the end of the episode. Alrighty. Okay. What is a way of saying this is a filler episode without sounding like a piece of shit? It's too late, isn't it? Okay. Let me clarify. Was this a bad episode? No. Not in the slightest. This was still a good episode. Just sort of a in-between episode, I guess. An episode where, like, it wasn't like, okay, we're gonna go and we did this, and this. It's like, no, we're going to do this, and this. And we still have some things that we need to connect before we get there, basically. So, yeah, calling it a filler episode I don't think is fair. Because, calling it a filler episode I don't think is fair. Because there's a lot of people think filler episodes are bad. And that's not necessarily the case. There are bad filler episodes, and there are good filler episodes. I'm still not technically sure that this qualifies as a filler episode. But this is definitely we need to have, like, we had everything that ended last episode, and we have things that need to begin next episode. But we didn't have every piece where it needed to be before we could get to that episode, so we had to take an episode basically to connect those points. And shows do that. Game of Thrones did that, definitely, which is, one of the first things I can think of. Shows do that. But this definitely felt like the first episode where I'm like, okay, we could talk for a few minutes about this, Like, I don't think we're going to be talking super long about this episode, basically. So yeah. I have to say, first off, though, I kind of like that each episode now, or at least, I guess, with the last two, there's kind of just been a theme, and that's kind of been the episode titles. This one, the title basically has Demons. And last episode was Debug, and both of those basically tie into the themes of the episodes. It's very interesting to just have a theme in an episode of a show that's not, this is not episodic. You can do themes per episodes in specific, like self-contained stories, but doing that in a more serialized format is very interesting. So, yeah. Again, we'll go over the notes, but I don't feel like this is going to be a very long conversation. Especially, it's not going to be as long as the last 3 episodes, basically. Bah. Gah, there's something... Sorry. There was something in my teeth, and it was bugging me. Also, you've probably noticed I've been screwing around with my mustache. For some reason, my mustache sort of like feels just weird. It's felt weird all day. I don't know. Not the point. Okay. Let's talk notes. Again, this is probably the least amount of notes I've taken on an episode of Mr. Robot, but sometimes that happens, you know? The first thing I wrote down is the tapes. An interesting plan to, instead of just blowing up Steel Mountain completely, which could cause casualties, they're going to go and, hack the thermostats, basically, in order to raise the temperature enough to burn all the tapes. That's very interesting, very clever. So I do like that. And yeah, it's a dangerous operation, It's very, very dangerous. Basically, the difference between the plans is that, someone... It could cause trouble for someone, so either it's going to be the innocent people that work there, or it's going to be the team. With this plan, there's a lot more risk on the team. Which does this? Oh, I was about to say, does this team have a name? But it's F Society. Duh. Anyway. But yeah, so it's an interesting plan, definitely. And he kept saying it's like, oh, there are vulnerabilities, even though it's like, okay, well, not really. And it's like, okay, so there are vulnerabilities, and instead it's like, okay, it's the people. The people are the vulnerabilities. We don't really know exactly what he means by that. Like, we didn't get like the rest of the plan, like, okay, what are we doing here? How exactly are we getting in, And I do it is very interesting also that they're going to create more Steel Mountains. Like, there's gonna be a bunch of them made with backups just across the country. Like, oh geez, then yeah, we do have to do this. So it is interesting. It's a very interesting plan. I also like that we get a bit more of the team in this episode, because like they've kind of just sort of been there, and the most you really get to know is Mr. Robot, and even then he's very like, he's really not he's not that... I don't want to say he's not that present, because he is, but you know what I mean. Because he's sort of this mysterious guy in the background, kind of. But we got a bit more of them. We got a bit more Darlene, definitely. Nope, god damn it. Trying to get to the cast list. There it is. Yeah, we got a bit more of Darlene and Romero. That was his name. Romero, I like him, and I like, how he's sort of the I guess he's sort of the voice of reason or something. It's like, okay, because he sees this plan, it's like, okay, there's way too many flaws with this plan, like, yes, this could potentially work, but this is very, like, I don't know, man. And he's also, I like how he says, like, look, you may have fooled them, but I know a junkie when I see one. So he figured out immediately what was happening with Elliot. And yeah, so he was going through withdrawal, and that was some serious ass withdrawal, Like, I don't know. It is interesting because it's like, okay, I don't really have too much of a point of reference. I have never done drugs. I have never found the appeal of that, basically. Like, I just don't feel like doing it. So I don't really have a frame of reference of that, or with withdrawal or anything like that. But that withdrawal, like, at first when he was, like, yelling at the guys and stuff, I was like, okay, well, that makes sense and stuff. But just the fact that he was just out, like, that was pretty intense. So, but I don't know. Again, I don't really know... Like, I don't really have a point of reference on withdrawal, so yeah. And then we had the whole talk about daemons, which is interesting. It's like, yeah, these things that are basically, like, they're constantly running in us, like a program running in the background. It's like, these things, it's like, I'm basically saying, it's like, yeah, this is actually, kind of who we are. This is, us that's constantly running. And it's not, really great stuff that's happening, but it's just sort of our natural habits and everything just sort of going, So that it was a very interesting theme of this episode. And we had Angela. So Angela, who basically had declared some, she took ecstasy, basically. I like how she says, too, it's like, oh, I don't do drugs. I mean, I smoke weed, but it's like, well, just say, like, you don't have to, I don't know. It's like, well, you could have just said that from the beginning, It's like, oh, I only smoke weed. I don't do ecstasy or whatever. So yeah. But I mean, it was still interesting. And it's because I kind of have to keep reminding myself, like, oh yeah, Angela doesn't really know what Elliot is doing with, doesn't know what Elliot's doing with F Society and stuff like that, So that was really interesting, and just her whole thing with Shayla was interesting. And yeah, just, learning it's like, oh, the only person you need to look out for is yourself, which I think she is now going to, I think she took that to heart when she, is going with the CD. Granted, she was going to do that in the first place, but still. One hit. So he did take one hit of morphine, but I guess the reason he takes pills is the pills probably doesn't send him on the giant, hallucination, basically, doesn't send him on a trip, basically. So that was interesting. So, okay, now how... I assume then that the last real thing was just taking the shot. After that, I think it was a bit... after that, I think, it's all hallucination, basically, until he wakes up. Like, because it looked like he got shot. Clearly, he hasn't been shot. And he hasn't been shot, and then like, all that stuff happens. Like, I think pretty much from the point that he takes the shot, the shot of morphine, that's when, the hallucination starts, basically. So, but it was interesting. I mean, it was still kind of interesting. Again, I don't know. Like, there was so much of it, too, So it's like, okay, there's the guys that get shot, and then he has the whole thing of like, oh, now it's your turn. He gets like an All Might moment, and he gets the mask and stuff, and, he envisions his house, and then the fish. Okay, who voiced the fucking fish? Who voiced the fish? I have to know. It doesn't say specific. Okay, was it the guy that did Romero? Because it kind of sounds like his voice. I assume it was his voice coming from the fish. I assume it was his voice coming from the fish. It almost sounded like James Earl Jones, So yeah, that was interesting. And then he had the whole thing about proposing to Angela and stuff like that, which is interesting. And then, yeah, taking the mask again, and then eventually he woke up. Which, I mean, it was all interesting. I like that, like I said in the reactions, like, no, there's nothing, like, they don't do anything, like, visually. Like, no, it's shot, like, normal, honestly. Like, they don't do anything. They don't put any, like, effect on the image to make it seem all weird. They don't, like, film it, like, swaying back and forth. Like, no, they film it like a normal shot, basically. But it's so, what's happening is the weird stuff, So I kind of like that. But he wakes up, thinks he's alone, and I do like Mr. Robot being there. It's like, no, hey, we're in this together to the end, So I like that, because he was basically afraid of, just being alone, but they're still there. They're still there for him. So I like that. And we had a bit of the Dark Army, again, which was interesting. Okay, so I didn't realize that the Dark Army was the guys that basically hacked Ollie and want to get this stuff into Allsafe. So I'm curious, like, what their plan is and stuff. But they are also going to be helping out with the attack on China, basically, in conjunction with the attack on Steel Mountain, which is interesting. So yeah, I definitely want to know more about the Dark Army and, like, why they're hacking, why they want to send these files into Allsafe. So yeah, and then pretty much the last thing I wrote down was she did try to put the CD in. Now, did she successfully do it? I don't fully remember. I don't think she successfully did it. I think she had to get out of there really quickly. Yeah, so she puts the CD in. She puts the CD in. And then something popped up on the screen for like a split second, basically. So I assume that's it then. I assume that's it. That and it looked like she actually, you know, now that I'm thinking about it, in her first scene, I would assume then that she's using Ollie's computer and Ollie's pass in case like they bring up the records or something and they see it's him. So yeah, like I assume then, because something flashed on the screen for like basically a second, so I would assume then that it did work. So yeah, I'll be very curious to see what does the Dark Army want with Allsafe. Like I do want to know more about them. So yeah, but that's pretty much it. That's kind of all I wrote down. Again, a good episode. I did enjoy it, but it definitely felt like an episode where it's like, okay, like we have like, okay, in episode 3, we know the point that we need to get to, but we still need to take an episode to get to that point, basically. So it definitely just felt like a connecting story threads episode, and that's fine. That is totally fine. It just means there's not a ton that we can really talk about. Of course, I may be totally wrong, and you may go into the comments and be like, oh, there's like 8 million things that we need to talk about in this, and that's totally fine if you think I missed something. But yeah. I just think, I feel like we've covered this episode. I feel like, yeah. But yeah, that is pretty much it. We will be seeing where we're going next time with, I guess, the attack on Steel Mountain. I'll be very curious how they're going to pull this off. So yeah, with all that being said, I'm Alex from 7th Hour Films, and I will see you guys next time. Take care. Alright guys, thanks for watching this video. If you want to watch more of my Mr. Robot reactions, you can click on the playlist, you can subscribe if you haven't done that already, and be sure you hit that notification bell. You can support me on Patreon, follow me on social media, links below in the description. See you guys later.